welcome to Property Matters here on Dublin South FM. You can contact the show on Twitter, Facebook, or on LinkedIn at iProperty Radio, or indeed email hello@iPropertyRadio.com. Your host for today is Brian Fox and myself, Carol Tallon. And Brian, you're very welcome. As people will be able to see, you are actually in the studio, whereas I am still hiding out. So how have things been? It's been a long time since we've had your presence on the show.
Well, it's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, obviously with the pandemic, it's been a fairly strange sort of time for everybody, and including the business that we're talking about, property as well. So it'll be good to get back into studio again and get to be able to discuss whatever is coming up in news in relation to property and politically and community wise as well. So
absolutely,
it has been very strange from that point of view, you know.
Yeah, and actually even seeing you is strange because obviously we've been talking on the phone, but I haven't been into the studio in 15, 16 months.
Yeah.
I know you're back in the studio there and we're talking about when to bring the show back in and guests. Again, we know from the local businesses and property managers, people are officially making their way back into the office this month, but everybody I've spoken to, they're doing it in a very tentative way. So actually a lot of the teams that I'm speaking with, they're only going back one day a week, or they're not going back regularly until January. So this mass return to the office, I'm not sure if it's happening the way people are talking about it. You're actually venturing in and out to the studio in Dundrum Town Centre. What's activity like on the roads?
Oh, very busy, very busy, very, very busy indeed. But we've had problems here trying to make programs as well and trying to keep programs going as well, because, well, from my point of view, I like to have people in studio as opposed to on phones. But it's an interesting era. I mean, getting away from, well, talking about technology, the advances that various other broadcasters are trying to make in terms of technology as well, to try and improve sound and vision as well.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And look, the technology support in this has improved. But one of the things that I've really loved was actually being able to access people from anywhere in the world as opposed to needing them to be in studio. So I wonder, will there be some manner of hybrid iProperty Radio? I think there might have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, consider too that the property business has gone through some well, shall we call them changes, because way back in January there was no viewing allowed.
Yeah. And actually the new technologies that estate agents have been embracing, we're going to really focus on those now over the coming months, because actually iProperty Radio, we're almost 3 years on air now. If you can believe it, it'll be 3 years this Christmas. And over that time, we featured prop tech and technology heavily. And there was definitely a case of, maybe having to give a little push, to get the industry on board. Definitely the industry was a little slower than we might have liked. Whereas all that has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as well as that, property has become domestic residential property has become a political hot potato now because of the problems that we experienced during the shutdown as well. And now you've got Fianna Fáil coming out with a Housing for All document, which some people are pleased with, others aren't. Some people say it's Fianna Fáil trying to throw money at it, at the whole property business, in order for them to be seen to be active for the general election. And then you've got Sinn Féin, as you know, with Ona Brin writing numbers of books on property as well. So we're going into some exciting times in terms of property as well now, in the programme as well, going forward,
Brian, I've missed your political savvy on the show, because I'm not sure if people are aware, but you actually have the Friday Forum show there on Dublin South FM, and politics is your main topic that you cover. And of course, housing is so political at the moment, and not just with the Housing for All. I mean, before the summer recess, we were speaking to Senator John Cummins, and he was talking to us about 7 bills that were passed quite quickly in the lead up to the recess. And I think about 5 of those related to housing. There's so much reform underway that you'd almost wonder what's the priority and where to start. But one of the big ones that is going to make a big difference, and we have touched on it on the show here before, SHDs, the strategic housing developments.
Absolutely, yeah. Strategic housing developments, yeah.
Well, that's going to be
that's going to be an interesting one as well, because as you're well aware, and I'm sure listeners are aware as well, the power of development, if you want to put it like that way, has been taken out of the hands of councillors and in the hands of on board Planola. And there's a lot of there are many problems with that in terms of how councillors and local authorities are reacting to that. And as we know too, they're going to go. Many of the projects under discussion are going for judicial review as well.
Yeah, and that's been a huge problem.
A huge problem. A huge problem. So that'll be an ongoing story as well as we proceed as well. So there's a lot going on, Carol. You know,
there is, and
particularly speaking alone. You know?
Yeah, well, no, there's a lot of change. Unfortunately, I think there's probably too much political influence in housing at the moment. However, I am hopeful that when the new Housing Commission launches, that will be chaired by John O'Connor, who was just retired from the Housing Agency. I'm genuinely positive that I'm optimistic about it because I think that it can be a non-political voice amongst the chaos at the moment.
Right. As will it'll be interesting to see too how what the reaction is like to the new Land Development Agency as well, because they're only kicking off at the moment as well, and they've got a new CEO as well.
Yeah, and look, a new CEO, but more importantly, has massive resources and big ambition. You know, these are big targets. I don't think we've ever had an agency so well resourced and so ambitiously tasked. You know, to be honest, I think the big challenge will be how long will the agency have to prove itself before it becomes a political target.
Oh, I'd imagine to be under a lot of pressure to achieve goals, and you know, its budget now has been dramatically improved as well, so it'll be under major pressure to develop the lands they're given, and so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they will relate to the local authorities as well, because I think it was one of the ministers there during the various think-ins, isn't it, have told local authorities to step up in terms of development as well, housing development as well. So it will be very interesting.
Yeah, yes, they will need to step up, but they're going to need to be a little more flexible and think more in terms of diverse housing solutions.
Yeah,
it can't be this pitting the public sector against the private sector. We know now that doesn't work. And all it does is create a stalemate. So you know, the community is going to be given, the local community, the public are going to be given a greater voice, both themselves and through their local councillors. We want to make sure that that's used wisely.
Yeah, and we of course will have to keep an eye too on Dublin City Council in terms of so many of their housing projects being blocked as well over the past number of months.
You know, and these are just some of the things we're going to be touching on when we kick off the new season. So, Brian, from my point of view, welcome back, because I'm so delighted to have you back. We've missed that political voice.
Good to be back. Not at all. No, it's good to be back as well, Carol, with you.
Very good. Well, so look, as discussed, we have a busy season ahead. And after the break now, we're going to get stuck into some of the issues plaguing build to rent in Ireland with Vince Harney of Anasoran. So for now, we need to take a quick break. Stay tuned.